welcome to YTV! The Young Uns! Previously on YTV.
Hello! We're here. Hello, welcome back. I mean, those memories. The previously section is just getting longer and longer. It's going to be the whole show. I mean, those memories, it was a month ago and 2 tears ago. My goodness. Bespoke jingles. We should be ruining more businesses, I believe, by...
Just what we need.
Exactly, just
Well,
what
no
we
one's
need
doing
this
that.
time. Exactly. So some people working in the arts, they're all going to have to retrain in cyber before too long. We'll find out how that's going, Michael, for you a little bit later on.
So he's 2 cheers for a place called England, sore abused but not yet dead. And Mr. Harding, sort of England, hanging in there by a thread. Here's 2 cheers for the crazy diggers, now their hour shall come around. We shall plant the seed they saved us, Commonwealth and common ground.
Councillor Duncan.
Duncan Main Counselling.
Duncan Main Counselling, right, okay. Well, I was feeling rather blue. I didn't know what to do. Everything I tried, I seemed to be flunking.
He's our pet lion and Poilou's his name. Poilou, the lucky lion of the war. Poilou scares the Germans with his roar. Poilou, his teeth are sharper than a saw. Poilou, the lucky lion of the war.
He changed Poilou!
Yay!
You see what I mean? I'm killing my dog. I'm killing my dog. I'm killing my dog for Satan. I'm killing my dog. I'm killing my dog. I'm killing my dog for Satan. I'm killing my dog. I'm killing my dog. I'm killing my dog for Satan. Here we go. Thank you, Mark. Goodbye. That fanfare heralds forth the 4th episode of YTV. Should we do something a little bit different, Mr. Cooney, today?
Yes.
Why don't we start with a song? Because last month we started with a 5-minute email.
We did. Yes, we're going to start with a song and we're going to dedicate it to the Labour homelessness campaign in Birmingham, who got in touch with us recently to tell us about this big event they've got planned shortly. We'll tell you about that at the end of the song. We're going to sing a song about a man who made Birmingham his home. His name was Bob Cooney. And in the 1930s, Bob Cooney went to Spain to fight against fascism in the Spanish Civil War. And one day in 1938, he found himself in charge of a group of 57 hungry men who had nothing to eat for a few days. And all Bob had to share with them was 1 tin of corned beef and a loaf of bread. And this is what he did.
Well, you've all heard how 5,000 oafs
Were fed by Christ with the fish and loaves, but on the banks of the Ebro in 38, a miracle happened on my plate. We'd had no scran for 2 whole days. 57 lads all hot and haze, when come the commissar with the grub, what grief. A loaf of bread and a tin of beef. Well, all us lads were filled with strife, till up comes Cooney with his tiny knife, and before the land could wolf the sun, every man had a corned beef bun. Now Jesus may have got more done, but he had 5 loaves, not just 1, and Jesus' men weren't clem like we. They've not fought fascists in a hot country. So if he can share with all us men, we can share the earth and start again. Sharpen your knives, Bob Cooney said. Bring out your beef and bring out your bread. We can share the earth, we can start again. Amen, 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 amen. Thank you very much. That was Bob Cooney's Miracle, and that was for the Labour homelessness campaign in Birmingham. And if you want to find out more about them, they're having a special event on the 13th of December at 4 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, and it's a fundraising concert online. There's more details available through their Facebook group, the Labour Homelessness Campaign. How are we doing then, Davey?
We're doing all right. I think we should tell people what's coming up on the show. I reckon, because I think you're going to primarily do that. I think next month, maybe, for our final edition, we should try and do it maybe for the one show style. Like, you know, they would say, coming up, and you do a bit, I would do a bit, Michael would do a bit. Maybe we could try a slick approach to the What's Coming Up feature in December.
Yes.
Something to look forward to there. A bit of slickness for the final episode. It's about time we're trying a bit of that. But in the meantime, what's coming up this week on YTV?
Yes, coming up this week on YTV, we say to...
Well, there we go.
You're just flubbing me. To a chart-topping songwriter. We also meet a girl with magic hair. And Horace the dog finally has his day. But first, we had some wonderful comments, some wonderful feedback last month after we showed an incredible rendition of one of our songs, Cable Street, performed by the 100-strong mighty vocal powerhouse that is Sing United, who are based up in Newcastle. Now, one of the most moving renditions of one of our songs we received recently came from the South Wales Gay Men's Chorus, who've been singing Be the Man for several years. And Be the Man, one of our songs, is inspired by the story of Matthew Ogston, also from Birmingham. And in 2014, sadly, Matt lost the love of his life, his partner of 13 years. And the circumstances of Naz's passing were tragic and were to do with his religious family's reluctance to accept him for the man he was. But the work that Matt has done in the 6 years since has just been completely inspirational, reaching out to people, saying that no religion should ever come between the unconditional love of parent and child. And in fact, Matt has just gone into film, and his first film based on the subject is called My God, I'm Queer, and it's available to stream for free on all four online, all four My God, I'm Queer. And if you listen to the radio documentary we made for Radio 4 in September, Life in Song, you might have heard a very powerful contribution from Howard from Bolton. We're going to play you that contribution now of what the song means to Howard, and then you'll hear the South Wales Gay Men's Chorus.
My name's Howard, and I first heard the song during one of the Young Uns singing weekends. Sean was telling the story of Matt. He played the song to us after, and just during the song I was an emotional wreck at the end of it. You know, it really had an immediate impact on me. The song is special to me because it resonated with my own experience of coming to terms with the sexuality of my son. Andrew first shared his sexuality when he was 14, and I found it very difficult to deal with at first. The song has helped my understanding incredibly. The very, very powerful lyrics. The saddest part was the mum who lost so much and didn't realise that she had such a wonderful son. I could have lost a wonderful son too had I taken the same path that she did.
Thanks so much to everyone in the South Wales Gay Men's Chorus for that emotional version of Be the Man. And the guys there have actually published the score. So if you do want to look at that, go to sheetmusicplus.com if you're interested in getting a musical score. We're having a few technical difficulties, lots of you are mentioning online.
Apparently so. We've frozen. Apparently, it's pretty cool in here, but we don't know what's going on. We could. Maybe we've got homophobic internet. Who knows? But I think what we could do is, if you are struggling to hear us, we could always do a little watch party a little bit later on, couldn't we? And then you get double the money. Not only do you get this again with audio and video syncs, but you also get our personal director's commentary as well. So there we go.
And talking of money, thank you ever so much for everyone who's continued to donate towards this cause, or towards this programme and to us keeping us going. We really, really appreciate it. And the link's on the screen tonight if you want to contribute. But we're back in Kids Corner.
We are.
And so, David, I can't believe this, but we have indeed finally actually got some kids to send in some drawings. And we've got a bunch of them. And we're going to get them on the screen now, I believe. Yes, from Albie, Rosa and
bearing in mind that we might not have any actual visuals, you're going to have to do extra audio description, not only for me, but for our listeners as well. Radio would be so much cheaper, wouldn't it?
It's their Uncle Phil who sent them in, and they're all inspired by one of our songs, a song, in fact, that we haven't done for 10 years, and the eldest of these kids is actually 9, so... it's all inspired by Twa Recruiting Sergeants. There's the Recruiting Sergeant.
Scottish song.
So Albie, Rose and Gnome. Albie's 9, Rosa is 7 and Gnome's 4. But there's also one from Jean who's 62 3/4 apparently.
Right.
Thank you,
Jean.
Well, talking of old clips, Mr. Cooney, I've had obviously in lockdown not really been able to do anything, so I've been sifting through some old hard drives and. Well, I won't tell you some of the stuff that I found. It's Kids Corner. But what I have come across is some old clips of us, including some clips from 2005. When we first attempted an album and we got a mate to produce one of our albums. And I don't think anybody has heard this particular album. Some people might be saying, Plastic Codheads. No, we're talking before Plastic Codheads. Was that 2007? I believe. We're talking in 2004, 2005. I'm going to play some, I don't know when the last time you would have heard these clips were. I'm going to play some rather embarrassing early young'uns clips coming up a little bit later on. You'll be glad that the internet isn't working. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, we're going to sing a little song.
Yes.
For Kids Corner.
Many years ago, I was asked to go to a little girl's birthday party. Harriet was 4. And she was having a Rapunzel-themed birthday party, and I was going as the storyteller. But I didn't want to tell the story of Rapunzel. So
you're quite the anarchist, aren't you? You're like the maverick. Have you been you presumably got paid to do this children's party to do Rapunzel? But I didn't want to tell Rapunzel, so I didn't.
Well, it's incredibly sexist. And she knows the story so well anyway, I would have probably ruined it. So I wrote a new story called Harriet's Magic Hair, and we've turned it into a song. And I'm going to use my faithful story bag to help me tell it. Here we go.
Okay, Mr. Cooney. You ready, Mr. Hughes?
Always.
Okay. Should we teach the listeners the chorus? I'm saying listeners now, I'm giving up on them. Oh, Harriet's magic hair could take her anywhere. Up to the top of the tallest tree, or down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hair.
When Harriet was 4, her hair began to grow. It was long and golden, pure and bright, as pretty as the stars in the night. And she knew then and there that she had magic hair. Harriet's magic hair could take her anywhere. Up to the top of the tallest tree, or down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hair. Now one day she went for a walk, when she met a pig who could talk. I'm not really a pig, you see. A wicked old witch put a spell on me, and it would fill my heart with joy if you turned me into a boy. Harriet's magic hair could take her anywhere. Up to the top of the tallest tree, down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hand. So, without a care, Harriet shook her hair, and with a puff of smoke she closed her eyes. She opened them, and to her surprise, it wasn't a boy she got, it was an old teapot. Harriet's magic hair would take her anywhere, up to the top of the tallest tree, down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hair. Oh no, Harriet said, I wish I'd stayed in bed. But the teapot began to talk. It did. It said, please, little girl, take off my lid. So Harriet had a look, and inside she found a book. Harriet's magic hair would take her anywhere, up to the top of the tallest tree, or down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hair. You must go to the wood, she read. So Harriet shook her head, and her magic hair it made her fly fast as a rocket through the sky. And in the woods, as red as a rose, Harriet found a nose. Harriet's magic hair would take her anywhere, up to the top of the tallest tree, or down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hair.
Well, Mr. Curly, on the bright side, if nobody's actually watching or listening to this or able to, at least we're enjoying ourselves.
Yes. Well, the nose began to squeak. The nose began to speak. Oh, tell me a joke, little girl, it cried, and the little boy will be by your side. So Harriet didn't joke. Harriet told a joke. Now, at this point, when we go into schools across the country, we ask a young child to contribute their favourite joke.
We
what
do
we're going to
indeed.
do,
Well, just before we say that, I'll tell you my favourite joke that I ever got from one of
Yes.
the children. I'm sure you'll fondly remember it. Is when a child went to a particular posh school. And normally it's the jokes that you've always heard before. Knock, knock, who's there? Oh, when we open the door and let me in. It's always the same jokes. But we were in a very posh school. And this child put their hand up and said, I have a joke. Who wrote Bubbles in the Bath? I've a windy bottom. So my favourite joke of them all there. But we have. I commissioned Harry and Hamish.
Oh, yes.
Nancy Kerr and James Fagan's children. Nancy Kerr's doing a gig tonight. Oh, don't tell them. You might be able to watch that one. And they're doing a gig tonight. But so Harry and Hamish couldn't give us a joke live, but I asked them if they could record a joke. But Harry and Hamish don't do things by halves. They've recorded us 5 jokes.
Yes.
And here are they.
Hello, everyone. I'm Harry, and welcome to 5 Jokes for the Young'uns. Let's begin. I say. Do zombies eat popcorn with their fingers? No, they eat the fingers separately. I say. Doctor, I think I'm turning into a pair of curtains. Oh, pull yourself together. Why didn't the lifeguard rescue the hippie? Because he was too far out, man. Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he had no body to go with! I say. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9! Well, I hope you enjoyed the 5 Jokes for the Young'uns today, and huge thanks to my drummer Hamish. I like to play.
There we are, Harry and Hamish, everybody. I don't know if your microphone was switched on, Michael, when you announced that there's a woman who's messaged in and said that everything's gone back to normal.
Well, just reassuring everybody.
Always
Joe,
good to know there. But they missed joke 3. Unbelievable.
We're in the middle of the song.
Yeah, so what
So
happens?
the nose began to wince and turned into a spoon.
Dramatic twists, eh?
And the woods rang with their merry laughter.
This for Rapunzel.
And they lived happily ever after. magic hair could take her anywhere. Up to the top of the tallest tree, or down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hair, oh, Harriet's magic hair could take her anywhere. Up to the top of the tallest tree, or down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hair, Harriet's magic hair could take her anywhere. Up to the top of the tallest tree, or down to the bottom of the deep blue sea. Harriet's magic hair.
Oh,
Hey!
here we are.
Thank you so much, Harry and Hamish.
Hamish.
Wonderful. We've been so lucky over the years to meet some incredibly interesting people. And one night, 13 years ago, in 2007, we were doing a gig in Chesham Folk Club in Buckinghamshire, and there was a guy there in the audience, and also who did a turn before we went on stage, who was called Andy. And he didn't mention it on the night, but we looked him up later, and we discovered that he had actually written one of the biggest selling hit singles of 1997. He wrote the Teletubbies theme tune. It went to #1 and sold 2 million records. And we only met him the once, but we've often thought about him over the years. And last week we thought we'd track him down and have this little conversation.
Not only did he write Teletubbies, he's written Tots TV.
Yes.
TV Tots. He's written Brum. He's written, and my favourite, Rosie and Jane. So you're in for an absolute treat now, my friends. You don't get this with Nancy Kerr. Roll the tape. We should really start the interview by saying "oh," but I'm sure that's how people greet you. Do you get that all the time? Do you get that all the time in the pub, Andy?
You wouldn't believe it. I managed to remain quite anonymous for most of my sort of writing music for children's TV period in my life, until I said I'd be in one of the Twirlywoos episodes, which is the...
I was watching it this morning.
One. Yeah. Well, the episode I'm in two episodes.
I was watching you and Rosie and Jim in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
Weirdly, he's not just been watching that because you've been on today. It's because he's always watching that. It's his ritual. When we're on tour, Andy, he insists he will not start a gig until he's watched that. It's on his rider.
That sounds great. It sounds perfect. Tour bus material.
So, yeah, I suppose there is a certain anonymity involved in that, which, because... You know, people think of the Teletubbies, they don't necessarily think of the composer, but it's an iconic theme. And I wondered whether, Andy, you could talk us through the process of how that came to you when you were commissioned. Was it like a McCartney moment with Yesterday? Did you wake up and it came to you in a dream? How did it happen?
I also called it Scrambled Egg as well when I first wrote it. That's what he did when he wrote Yesterday. It didn't have a title. But
it's good.
I thought it was a technical term, yeah.
Well, there's some sort of composer speak up.
Scrambled egg.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
He should have kept it. Anyway, Anne Wood, who runs Ragdoll, who commissioned the whole thing, and I'd done several programs with her before. And always it was the idea that if children were in another room and they heard the theme tune, they go running into where the TV was, and that would be like a wake-up call or a herald to the program. And Teletubbies was no different at that time. And 3 things my dad said to me always was, get your hair cut, get a proper job, and write a melody. Now, you know, he was a jazz pianist, and that's always stuck with me, apart from the haircut and the proper job. I think everything about what I do, in every aspect of what I do, is always lyrical, and I mean melodic. And I think that's what gets most people, is that melody, which it just is a thing that we humans do. And it's part of my makeup, from genetically and from just cause, really. So I love the challenge of having to write something that is going to prick people's ears when they hear it. Yeah. And so, so I got the call to do that, and I was involved really early on in the process of getting the whole program together. And so I just went away, and I just had a freshly born daughter.
It's not like a sacrifice. This is not a sacrificial thing, is
Freshly
it?
born, yeah.
And
Sacrifice it to the gods of music.
Yes, it worked. Yeah. No, I would freshly born. I'd have her on a backpack, and then I lived in Somerset at the time, and I'd just go on long walks, which is normally the way I get most of the stuff that I do, either successful or not successful. It still seems to be that sort of perambulating rhythm, and you set your body going, and then your mind is free to do what it wants. Anyway, so I would walk, and it probably took about 2 weeks to get this thing ironed out, away from a keyboard, away from a computer, away from a musical instrument, so that I could sort of wake up in the morning singing it. And I thought, okay, that's worked for me. I'll try that. And did it. And there's always that, you must get this when you have to do something for somebody else, write a piece of music for somebody else. And there's the terrible anxiety of, are they going to like this? I like it. Are they going to? So I remember sitting in front of Anne Wood, and she loved it, which was great. So that helped. But yeah, I do put a lot of thought into, a lot of work into the process of thinking, where should this go now? But in the end, it should sound effortless.
Yeah.
I think the best moment for me was I was in Milton Keynes doing Christmas shopping that Christmas when Teletubbies were everywhere. And there was a guy who was a bit the worse for wear, operating, which I'm sure is illegal, a merry-go-round for children in Milton Keynes shopping centre. And he whistled the tune. And I thought, yes. I think my work is done.
He was tipsy, presumably.
I've done it. He was extremely tipsy.
Very good.
He was the very green one.
We're talking about the mid-1990s here, that you were, Rosie and Jim and Tots TV and Brum and the Teletubbies. And I was reading something you did, an interview that you'd done before, and you explained like a figure on a motorbike coming to your door and collecting stuff from you. What was all that about?
Yeah, that was Teletubbies. The turnover was really fast. So it's a half an hour show, and there's a filmed segment in the middle of Teletubbies, but either side of it, there was incidental music, which I had to do. And although a lot of composers work in the way of getting a library of music together and then sort of cutting the library they have to fit, I just find it actually quicker to write it new, to record it fresh to the thing, rather than get another piece of music and try and make it fit everywhere. But yeah, 8 o'clock in the morning, the previous day's episode, they'd be taking the sound, because this is pre-internet. So they'd be taking a DAT tape of the music for that to Pinewood Studios, which was about 40 minutes away from where I lived, ready to be put in the show. That is really, once we started, we did 365 episodes. Once we started, that was it. We were on a complete sort of conveyor belt.
Yeah. I would have thought the motorbike would have been for Brum, but there we go.
This is true, yes.
Well, it's interesting coming back to what you're saying about the Teletubbies, because as you mentioned, there was a lot of criticism, and there still is, about why are we, this what strange language these creatures are speaking. What's this all about? But a lot of research did go into kids' developmental speech, didn't it, in the creation of that? And I think in the same way that the Night Garden is, even though it's populated by these strange characters like the Pinky Ponk and the Ninky Nonk and the Pontypines. My favourite, the Harhoos. But so were you privy to that kind of educational research that went into that stuff then, in terms of the Teletubbies? Yeah, certainly in terms of Teletubbies. And in fact, every programme that Ragdoll make, there's a lot of thought goes behind which age range the programme is to be aimed at. And certainly Teletubbies was aimed at the youngest age range yet at that point, which was sort of 6 months to 18 months. And Andy is a trained speech therapist as well. So even the names of the Teletubbies are in order of children's ability to be able to say them. So even that is a progressive thing, but he understood exactly what he was doing. He understands exactly what he's doing when he's talking about speech development and the way children are going to watch this show. And every other Ragdoll show is the same. The one I'm working on now, Twirlywoos and
I'm working on one called Bot and the Beasties, which comes out in spring of 2021.
That's an exclusive there on YTV.
It is nearly, yeah.
You, Andy, as well as we've obviously focusing on the children's television themes, but you also do, I mean, I don't want to say disparagingly, but serious music as well. I mean, obviously, Tots TV was not serious, but you've been in many bands performing. You're currently in a band, so maybe you should talk about your other musical endeavours as well.
Well, I just really love playing, and one of the things I really enjoy doing is writing music to picture. Because when the first time I ever did it, which was in the 70s, the end of the 70s, it seemed like it, because whenever I'd written before, there was always an image in my mind that I was writing to. So there was a sort of mental film. And the minute I got a physical film to actually put the music to, that for me, it just all came together because it was telling me what to do. I mean, it was so easy to do that. So that's one aspect of what I do, which I love. But then I love playing with other musicians, just, you know, jamming away. I'm awful in that I would just turn up at an open mic night, which is where I think I met Sean the very first time.
All of us,
you met the three of us. It's nice to know that Sean was the memorable one.
Stayed in your memory, yeah.
It was Cheshire Folk from 2007,
yeah. And to just turn up and play or play with others and just jam, that is, I find that really enjoyable as well, that whole thing. So it's just, I'm lucky. Almost every aspect of what I do, I enjoy. And that includes writing songs in the band I'm in, which is Three Bucket Jones. And since, if you hear singing, this is Gitika, who's the other Three Bucket Jones member.
Hi, hello. How you doing?
Hello, Gitika.
And my brother.
I've got to mention her brother, who is
Dave Partington. He's in the Roaring Troman. He's
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is he? Oh, really?
My goodness, for
Right,
those
oh,
people
brilliant.
who don't know, the Roaring Troman are a shanty band.
Nice
So-
to meet you.
That's
Oh, wow. She's singing next door. So if you hear singing, that's
That was very well timed. That
it was.
As soon as you
It's
said
almost as if she
came
was waiting
crashing
outside.
through.
Yeah. Well, we read the script and we thought.
Should we try it again? Why don't you say Tinky Winky? Let's see if he comes through the door.
And tonight.
But anyway, enough of Michael's nickname. Well, there's one thing missing, Andy, from YTV. I mean, many people would argue there's many things missing. But there's one distinct thing missing, and that is that it doesn't have a theme. Now, you're far too expensive to commission, So instead, I thought, well, I've got a keyboard here. I've got all sorts of instruments on the computer. Maybe I should compose a YTV. I love the fact you're saying excellent. That lets me off the hook. That means that I can compose a YTV theme. Oh, you've got it. There you go. We'll have that. There it is. Yes. I mean, that's only the YTV. If you did it again,
you've got 3 guineas, please.
Yeah. But so I thought, YTV. How would you go about composing a theme? What kind of, or not just composing a theme for this, but what advice would you give me before I embark upon this? What should I look out for? What should I do? What should I avoid?
Not avoid. I don't know whether avoid. Avoid nothing. Do everything. But just sing the name of the show in many different ways, and it will happen. So very importantly, you just got to sing the title and get that rhythmically correct and catchy, so that when people hear it, they're going to go, "Oh yeah, God, YTV," and if they find themselves humming it whilst drunk operating a merry-go-round in Milton Keynes,
right? That's the litmus test.
You know, that's the test, yeah. Yes.
Excellent. There we go.
That was Andy McCrory Shand, and we're going to return to Andy later in the programme for a very special children's TV inspired quiz.
Also, I have created a YTV theme, and you two have not heard it yet,
No.
but it shall be showcased. Have I taken his advice and basically just said YTV in a myriad of different ways? You will find out, but that's coming up a little bit later on. Plus, we haven't mentioned this yet, but we have some Mercenary Minutes where I will be doing bespoke jingles for your business. We've just had one in from Virgin Media, who can do some very good internet deals apparently. So there we go.
We must say we're fully aware of this internet problem, and unfortunately, it's in lockdown. There's a million people here where we are in Sheffield, streaming stuff on a Friday night, and so we're trying our best. But
I'm honestly blaming it on Nancy Kerr because she's doing a live stream in the other side of Sheffield at the moment. She's clearly taken up all of the internet. That's
well, what we will do as soon as this programme is finished, Andy's gonna.
We'll do it again.
Yeah. We're gonna put out how would you describe it?
How would I describe it?
A proper version?
A proper version, yes, without the lags. Maybe with a few more jokes as well.
Yeah.
Who knows? Cooney will be better in tune. Wonderful.
Part of the reason Andy McCrory-Shand found us so unmemorable from that night we did meet him in 2007 was, how would you say, David?
Well, we were talking about tuning there. For those people, a lot of people will know that when we first started, the reason we got into folk music was because it was certainly centred around drink to start with. It was the folk club in Stockton what we stumbled across when we were 17 in the pub, and this is our first forays not only into folk music but also into alcohol as well, and the two in combination was a rather potent mix, and you're going to hear the results of this. So we stumbled across folk music in about 2003, and we thought, we've been going for a year now. Granted, we haven't done a gig yet, but we're ready to record our first album, is what we thought. I think that's... So 2004 came, and I was doing music technology at university, and so you two were in a different university in Durham, and you came to Hull University, and you joined me in the studio with a mate of ours, and he produced an album which sold 0 copies because we didn't ever get round to printing any copies, and thank goodness for that.
We couldn't afford the print.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a few clips from this, and I've got to warn you, there's 3 clips. The first one that we're going to play is, obviously now we sing songs of social conscience, and we sing songs that we believe are poignant. We've taken a very different tack in this song. It's essentially about murdering a baby. So we sung about very different things in 2004. I should also warn you as well, because you're going to hear a bit of an interesting accent from me, and it's not meant to be a Jamaican accent, but I need to point this out because people may say, what's he doing this for? This is a bit something wrong about this. It's not meant to be a Jamaican accent. I've no idea what accent I was trying to do, nor why I was even trying to do an accent. So with that in mind, let's hear this recording from 2004.
There was another woman, she lived in the woods. Another woman, she lived in the woods, down by the river Sawyer. She had a baby 6 months old. Will ya, she had a baby 6 months old, down by the river Sawyer. She stuck the penny in the baby's hat. Will ya, stuck the penny in the baby's hat, down by the river Sawyer. There were 3 loud knocks coming knocking at the door. Will ya, that's right, there were 3 loud knocks coming knocking at the door, down by the river Sawyer. I pulled her up around her neck. Will ya, I pulled her up around her neck, down by the river Sawyer. I pulled her up and she was hung. Will ya, I pulled her up, she was hung, down by the river Sawyer. And that was the end of the woman in the woods. Will ya, and that was the end of the baby too, down by the river Sawyer.
There we are. Now I should point out that because last month it was dog sacrifice and sort of child murder on this particular day. It's really going places this show, isn't it? It's a shame it's not working. It's fantastic stuff. Anyway, you've seen some photos. I think you should maybe talk a little bit about some of those very shortly, Mr. Gunny. But also, I should mention you could hear the sound of the drumming and the tambourine there, and that was all me. I don't want to brag here, but that percussion was all by me. I had a tambourine, if you remember. I would have a tambourine by my side like this, and in a very sort of camp way, sort of flail it around. But I'd also have a drum between my legs.
Oh, yes.
And so when I was doing, when we did our first gig, I'd have the drum between my legs, but I'd just be doing this between my legs, and which probably looked rather rather
It certainly
odd.
does now, David.
Oh, exactly, because I haven't actually got it. Yeah, now I haven't got a drum. Exactly. Hey, previously on YTV. There you go.
That's not the buffering.
Sorry. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we have frozen. It is a bit cold. But I was just thinking of Horace the dog. But
Yes.
we'll come back to that. But talking of dogs, Mr. Cunningham,
Yes,
one of the
indeed.
photos.
Indeed. Oh, the photos.
Yeah. There was a dog in one of the
Was
pictures.
there a dog
I
in one of the
believe.
pictures?
There was.
There was. Yes, there was. That was a compilation of some great photos from in the days when we had the folk club in Hartlepool, and the one night when the pub was shut and we had to move the folk club into the local primary school, which my dad and mum worked at, and they had this like toy dog that kind of responded to noise. It was like one of those electronic dogs. It was.
So every single time someone would be singing a serious ballad, and all of a sudden this dog would just spring into action if someone hit the note, and the dog would just be up there. But talking of incendiary dog experiences,
Yes,
it's the moment you've all been waiting for.
Yes.
It is part 3 of the Young'uns Triathlon, but of course we teased you with this 3 months ago when I have a rather interesting encounter with a dog. So I think is that all the setup that's needed?
Yeah, I don't think we really teased. I think we revealed all really, and we've been laughing about it ever since.
Well, here we go.
But,
It's a chance
Horace
to
the
see
dog.
that now.
Horace is trying to push me in.
Trying to get the microphone again.
Okay. I'm getting. Right. We were going to give 5% of the donations to the RSPCA, but not anymore, you bastard. Right.
Was that what I got my glasses on? Was that what I think it was?
Oh, trust me, for the benefit of our blind listeners, you don't want to know. Right. He's certainly not a guide dog. I'll put it that way. Well, I'll put it that way indeed. Anyway, right. Right. So,
Introduce this, David.
what's the plan then? How far are we swimming?
To the board and back.
So we're going there and back. And this is a real-time swimming race. Okay. Are we ready?
Ready, steady.
We're not turning around.
What? Ready, steady, bang!
You won. Oh. Damn you!
David Eagle, second place. All done in a magical 44 seconds.
Oh my goodness. The song? Michael Hughes is the victor. Well done, Michael. Thank you.
I must admit, I didn't actually touch the side. I was shocked in my life one day. I was swimming towards it. And I did breaststroke and just enjoyed it for a minute.
You've heard that before. Well, it's all away for the windy weather, boys. All away, boys, all away.
And it's all away for the finer weather, boys.
All away, boys, all away.
Oh, it's all away like jolly young sailors, boys.
All away, boys, all away.
Oh, all away.
Unbelievable. There we are. So I think it was worth the wait. Yes. People are just switching off now. At least we could see that. I hope it wasn't frozen for that big. I mean, Horace the dog. Imagine that if it just suddenly froze on one image and it was just me being molested by a dog. There we go. Well, I think we need to do one. We've got obviously one final show coming up in December, and we've mentioned this to the viewers. We want your suggestions about what we can do. So, are we going to try and do this in the studio? Is that the idea? Do you think?
I think so.
Studio-based games, so things that we can do in the studio. So maybe your classic sports, your school sports day type thing. We could do an egg and spoon race, perhaps a sack race, maybe. But any suggestions are welcome of what you would like to see us competing. Okay, Mr. Curdy, where are we heading to now?
It's Mercenary Minute time. What have we got?
Yes. So some people have given us £50 in order in exchange for me to create them a pithy ditty.
So we got this one, Davey. So this is from Lindsay, and she says, George and I would like to apply to have a Mercenary Minute.
Oh, so they don't actually want one yet?
Right. She says, on our small farm in Suffolk...
Now, hang on a second. They have paid, haven't they, Michael?
Oh, they have.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this for enjoyment.
She said, on our small farm in Suffolk, we make Simtech seed drills for direct seed drilling.
Oh, now, I must confess, I've already got a song about Simtech seed drills, so this isn't going to be as improvised as you thought.
Which will drill any seed into any surface without ploughing and disturbing the soil structure.
I mean, there are some jokes that we won't go there, but anyway.
Cover crops, grass rejuvenation. Phone George Simon on 07889 378 302. And she says, as George would put it, respect...
Don't put us we know to know about that.
This is your chorus here, Dave. So
right.
I'm giving you some material here. As George would put it, respect the soil, ban the plough, use Simtech drills and show 'em how.
Right.
But I'm sure Dave could say
Is it
better.
show 'em how or show 'em how? Has he just slipped with the drill? Show 'em how! Maybe not as safe as we thought, these drills, George.
She says, but I'm sure Dave could say or sing it better.
I'll give it a go. What have we got a name of the farm, or we just... No farm name. Okay, well, I'll give it a go. Somewhere on Suffolk. And it's a Simtech seed drill.
That's the one.
Okay.
Remember, respect the soil,
Yeah.
ban the plough,
How could I forget?
use Simtech drills and
Show them how. Okay. Oh, I've got a brand new combine harvester. Well, I don't care about that, 'cause I've got something better that'll rival that, you prat. Tell me what it is, my friend. Well, it gives me such a thrill. It's the best thing in the world. It's my Simtech seed drill. Oh, the Simtech seed drill. Oh, the Simtech seed drill. When it comes to seed, none you shall spill. The Simtech seed drill. Oh, it whizzes round and round. It's environmentally friendly. It doesn't make too much of a sound. When it comes to seeds, you should know the drill. It's Simtech, Simtech, Simtech. What the heck? Simtech. Don't be a wreck. Simtech. Oh, what the feck? I said Simtech. Okay.
Oh, dear.
Another business ruin.
Thank you so much to everyone who's continued to donate and to put up money for those mercenary minutes. We really appreciate it. But now
I believe we may have another one to come a little bit later on, Michael, if we're lucky.
Yes. But now we're going to return to Hartlepool. If you've watched us before, you'll know that we recorded a whole bunch of films recently returning to our maritime muse, the beautiful town of Old Hartlepool, the headland. And to mark this month of remembrance, we've got a special video with a story about perhaps one of our less well-known songs, inspired by an incredible story, Theo Jones. We're looking out from the headland to the North Sea, and where we're standing now is a museum, the Youth Battery, but 100 years ago it was a military barracks. And on the morning of the 16th of December 1914, completely unexpectedly and without any precedent, 3 German battleships slipped through the mist of the sea and began to bombard the town of Hartlepool. It became the saddest day in the history of the town. Within 40 minutes, 128 people were dead, many of them civilians, many of them children. And because no one knew what was happening and nothing like it had ever happened before, when people heard the shells at first, they thought it was just a thunderstorm. It was so unexpected. The first to fall that day went down in history as Theo Jones. He was from Hartlepool, he was 29. Before the war, he'd been a headmaster in Leicestershire, and he lived in a tiny village called Thrinxton. He was a great singer, he led the school choir, he was a rugby player, he was a handsome man. And when he decided that he must join the army and come back home to Hartlepool, the whole village there clubbed together and presented him with a little prayer book. And he was carrying it in his pocket on that morning when they found him. At Thrinxton School late in the spring, 100 tongues did sweetly sing, and loud amongst their licit tones sang the young headmaster Theo Jones. But when the summer came along, the drums of war drowned out their song, and Theo Jones made up his mind to leave young Thrinxton School behind. With autumn leaves he marched away to Hartlepool. He made his way, bearing the gift his pupils gave, a book of prayer to keep him safe. The winter wind sang like a ghoul. A box arrived at Thrinxton School, bearing the book that caused great moans, stained with the blood of Theo Jones. But winter will return to spring. 100 tongues once more will sing. 100 lambs will skip and play. 100 years will slip away. That was Theo Jones, recorded at the Youth Battery Museum in Hartlepool recently. And we did actually record a version of the song, not as the Young'uns, but on a collaborative project in 2014 called Songs for the Voiceless. So there is a version of that available if you do want to look at it. But there he is, the man himself, Private Theo Jones. Moving on
to some much worse singing, I believe. Is that where we're heading to now?
Yes.
It's time for another one of these rather embarrassing clips. Now, this one is a song that we still sing from time to time. It's the Shanty, South Australia. But for some reason, well, I mean, first observation for this one, Michael, is that, so for those people who've just tuned in, this is from 2004, our first album that never got released or listened to by anybody. And I just discovered it on a hard drive this last week. And, well, you and I sound absolutely having a whale of a time.
Oh, we were, absolutely.
Me and you, with our various accents. Your accents are absolutely wonderful. But Sean, you sound depressed, to be honest, to be there. So it's quite a strange. It's quite a strange vibe. So you'll hear the contrast here as we sing the Shanty, South Australia.
Right. In South Australia I was born, hey away, all away. In South Australia and Cape Horn, we're bound for South Australia. All away, a rolling king, give away, all away, I'll hear me sing, bound for South Australia.
I pop one finger in my mouth.
Well, heave away, what's that then?
Leaving Nancy Blair behind.
We're bound for South Australia. All away, a rolling king, heave away, all away, you'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia.
As we walk up round Cape Horn,
Heave away,
we wish to God we'd never been born.
We're bound for South Australia. All away, a rolling king, heaving away, all away, you'll hear me sing. Bound for South Australia. All away, a rolling king, heaving away, all away, you'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. Thank you very much.
So I love it. Are the drums back? I'm sure you've always got to be back. I think we should bring the drum back for the thing. I was thinking when you said the drums of war, I thought maybe it wouldn't have been the best song to have done it in with me to soon do that between my legs. But we'll have one final clip, and it's a very different take. It's a very different type of song. There are instruments involved.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know whether to give too much away. I'll tell you what I will. It's very exciting. Not only have we got vocals, Mr. Cooney on the main vocals, but we also have a cheap Casio keyboard and a kazoo. That's coming up right at the end. So where are we going to now?
Well, now we're going back to a secret shed somewhere in Suffolk for Gary Hammond and his percussion instrument of the month.
We're back in a barn in Suffolk with Gary Hammond, who's been held hostage. He's been here now for the last 3 months, and it's time for another. You haven't had a change of clothes?
No.
If you'll notice in the last 2 months. Now, don't worry, viewers, we're recording this all in one sitting here in this barn in Suffolk at the Folk East Mini Festival, and it's time for Gary Hammond, percussionist from the beautiful South, former percussionist in the beautiful South, current percussionist in the Hut People. That makes it sound like you could be usurped at any minute. Well, actually, it could be, because as you know, once Gary has played the percussion instrument, I then give it a go, and I've been so good at squeezing the pig and playing with the pen that they're not euphemisms, they're percussive instruments that we've been dealing with the last 2 months, that Sam Pert has tried to headhunt me for the Hut People. But it's okay, you could join the young'uns. So it'll all work out perfectly. Now, what is your percussion instrument of the month this month, Gary?
This month it's a Helix bowl.
Right.
And I wondered why it was called Helix, because us percussionists, we're not the brightest grapes in the bunch, really. And someone said that's a bowl, and someone said that's a helix, the shape's a helix. And basically you can hit the bowl it's got a nice little ring to it, but you have to wrap your fingers and hold the bowl and keep your fingers and hand off the spring, and then you can roll the triangle beater across, bang your fingers and stop it. Or you can have it on your belly, which you should do, which is really nice, and then take it on and off your belly when you stroll across it. So that's like a sound effect. And in percussion world, we love sound effects. This one can double up as a rhythm thing. So if I place one finger on the spring and keep taking it on and off while I'm striking it, I can do a little rhythm while I'm taking it on and off my belly at the same time, okay? So you can do this.
So it's kind of got like a Jew's harp quality to it.
It has, yes, it really has, yeah. And when I do sort of education work, people do find it hard to keep their fingers off the spring. You need to do that. Only place your finger on the spring when you want to deaden it, so you can create your little rhythm bits going on. So I'll pass it over.
Okay.
So first of all, right-handed. So hold that in your left hand like that, like that. There's your beater.
There's my beater.
Keep that finger off that spring. First of all, strike it down, take it
Am I
off your belly.
striking the spring?
Yeah, go on, strike it.
Striking that bit there?
Yeah.
And then I'll put it on my belly?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe should I stand up for this? Maybe?
No, it's okay. Take that finger down though, don't let it touch this spring.
Don't let it touch the spring, right.
Right.
Here we go then.
Go.
Oh, I've developed a technique there.
Oh, go on.
Here we go. Ah, oh. Yes, thank you very much. Gary, how long did you bang this bit? I think you talked about that, didn't you?
Yeah, you can.
Because I can do that, I can incorporate it. Here we go then. No, it didn't work. Thank you, Gary Hammond. Join us next month.
So, David Eagle, we were promised an original jingle.
Indeed, I was listening to that percussion sound there and I thought that's what the jingle needed. And unfortunately, it's not got it in. How could I have forgotten that we could have had that lovely sound in there? But,
You should have brought your drum.
But I should have put the drum in there as so much, and not to mention the Casio and the kazoo, of course. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm not so convinced that this jingle is going to be any good. But it is time for me to reveal my YTV theme. Now, before I play it, Mr. Gurney, I thought, because obviously Teletubbies, you've got Tinky Winky Dipsy La La Po, Teletubbies Say Oh. I think it sounds better rapped, actually, doesn't it? But I thought, well, Po, obviously, and Oh, they're rhyming there. And I thought, I need something that's going to rhyme with YTV. And I thought, Yippee. That's a quite nice, catchy thing. Now, when I think of Yippee, and when you think of Yippee, is there anybody that springs to mind, Mr. Cooney?
Desmond Tutu.
Desmond Tutu, of course. When he was asked what he thought about Barack Obama being the US president.
No, it wasn't that. It was when he thought about what it was like to have the World Cup come to South Africa.
Are you sure?
Yeah, or maybe
I don't think it was.
He's maybe said yippee more than once.
Oh, I don't know if I've got I don't know if I've even gone for the right yippee here. I think it was when he asked about Barack Obama. Maybe, and I was thinking because his yippee didn't sound as effusive as I remember it being, and that maybe is the reason why. But I've put in a bit of that. So you've got a bit of Desmond Tutu in there. I've looked on Wikipedia at Desmond Tutu's article, and he said he retired from public life in 2010. Well, he's back. He's back, everybody. It's 2020. It's now time for the YTV. And I also thought, because of Mercenary Minute, of course, many of the time I launch, of course, with my trademark, "Ow!" and then launch into my Cockney voice. And I thought, I think that character needs to do the YTV theme. So this is it. I think that you've heard the Lovely Northern Town theme for the last time. This is the new YTV theme.
Time for YTV, time for YTV, time for YTV, time for YTV. Yeah, shut up, I need to sing. Oh, David Eagle, Michael Hughes and Sean Cooney, providing entertainment fit for all the family. Oh, there's ever so much to hear, you know, and oh, so much to see. It's time for YTV. There's songs to be sung, there's games to be won, there's scintillating discussion, Gary Hammond playing percussion, Kids Corner, and then the epitome of cool as they take you on their monthly trip to Hartlepool. Oh, you can leave a little donation or just take it all for free. Your buggers will pay for a personal jingle in their feature Mercenary Minute. There's ever so much to hear, you know, and oh, so much to see. It's time for YTV. It's time for YTV. It's time for YTV. Tell them, Desmond. Thank you. Time for YTV. Time for YTV. Time for YTV. Shut up.
The good thing about this is now, when it gets re-uploaded to YouTube, we could say the Young'uns YTV featuring Desmond Tutu. That'll get them coming back.
Absolutely fantastic. We promised you a children's TV-based quiz with our hero Andrew McCrory-Shand, and here it is.
Visual forewarning earlier. But basically, I've got some characters with me from TV shows that you have composed the music for, and I'd like you to name the aforementioned characters. So, could you explain to everybody?
If he gets it right, then it's a yes, yes. If he gets it wrong, it's a no.
Okay. Now, how long have you waited to use that line? How long?
Months in the flooding.
Exactly.
Right, so coming up, we have this little character here. Looks a bit like an owl.
Yeah.
Who would you say this is?
Peekaboo.
Yes.
Peekaboo.
Peekaboo from the Twirlywoos.
Yes.
And maybe because I think you are such a... maybe I've set the bar too low for this. These are quite easy for you, knowing everything we now know about the level of research that went into this and how much you feel about these characters. So maybe I'll ask Mr. Michael Hughes then. And
yes.
The rest
I'm not going to know. I can't see them.
You got one in 4 chance. It's the red Teletubby.
Oh,
what
right.
do you think, Michael Hughes?
Well, I think that is. I think that might be Dipsy.
Oh, it's Paw.
Dipsy. Let's see if the Teletubby can tell us themselves. She's just saying hello there. She'll reveal her name in a minute. Now she's saying hooray. Hang on. She will say her name. Hang on.
Paw?
No, she's just getting excited about something there. No, she's not said it yet, but...
no.
Sure she says her name. You are right. This is Paul David Eagle.
Yeah, I was right. The person who can't see got it right. Excellent.
Unbelievable.
Yes. Okay, so Andy, one more. Maybe a tricky one. Who's this?
That's one of the Twirlywoos, and it's not Great Big Who. It's the next one.
Your reputation's falling around your feet here.
The audience are in shock.
Press the red button.
Chat's just switched off.
Someone text in with the answer. We'll reveal it at the end of the show.
No,
it's what is it? Tooraloo.
Tooraloo?
Or Toodaloo, something like that.
Toodaloo, yes.
Yeah.
Toodaloo, that's it, yeah.
A very folky reference there, Mr. Cooney. Very good.
Tooraloo, it's the Dexy's Midnight Runner's favourite.
Yes, it is. Yes.
But it is nearly time for us to say toodaloo, but before we do, we should thank Andrew McCrory-Shand, Andy McCrory-Shand, for his wonderful, for agreeing to do that for us, but also for inspiring the YTV theme. And who knows, Michael, have we got another Mercenary Minute?
We have got another Mercenary Minute.
Mercenary Minute's just come in.
Yeah.
So, what am I doing before it's...
So it says this. To your YTV, I've paid the 50 quid in the drop next to third lime tree on the left on the road leading to the Stadium of Ultimate Darkness. There we are. That's all you've got.
Is that their company? Is that what I'm doing an advert for? Right.
So please can I ask you to come up with a witty ditty, or more likely just a ditty, and then the winky emoji.
Hang on. When you say winky emoji, you mean winking?
Oh, winking
There's a
emoji.
big difference.
It's a different
My
thing.
goodness.
You're banging that drum again. For my husband's birthday. Details here.
Maybe it was the winky emoji then.
Details. Davy Crockett, yes I know, retired school teacher named Penfold because of his glasses, think Danger Mouse. Loves steam engines, locomotives, train journeys, children. Dislikes news reporters describing Birmingham, etc., as the North. Jokes about school teachers' long holidays.
You didn't do that when you were referring to Birmingham before, I hope, Michael, Mr. Cooney.
will be 21 plus. Even with my shoes and socks off, we won't get there. Thanks, Lorna
Enough
Boy.
about your sex life. Anyway, right, so we'll give that a go then. What did you say you didn't like? He doesn't
dislikes news reporters describing Birmingham, etc. as the north. Jokes about school teachers' long holidays will be 21 plus.
Okay. All right. So this is for David Crockett. Okay. Oh, Davy Crockett. You like steam trains, like the rocket. And you are called Penfold, because you look a bit like the Spy. And you love to watch the steam trains going by. You're that kind of guy. Oh, I bet you really like the locomotion. And if you're lucky because it's your birthday, your wife might get the notion. And I know that you like trains, and it's been a long marriage. But if you're lucky, Davy, she might go near your undercarriage. Oh, and when she's doing that, who knows what she'll do. But I hope for your sake, Davy, she doesn't choo-choo. Oh, dear. I think we've covered everything there.
Okay, well, we're supposed to have one more episode of this show. Let's see.
It's a good job we're not broadcasting.
When is the next episode? Does anyone care? It's the 22nd of December. Join us for a Christmas special. What else do we need to tell you? Next is the Young'uns.
Oh, we got one final audio clip to show you. As promised, it's Casio keyboard and kazoo. And Mr. Gurney, I'm a little bit worried about this because it's a bit of a cover. I hope we don't get banned because of this, but I don't think we will. I think it's unrecognisable from the original. Big Bob Dylan fan, of course, Mr. Cooney. Yeah. And this was one of the first recordings that we did. And this before I think we even tried 3-part harmony. We put a keyboard backing track on. We put a keyboard backing track on, and you sang the words to Tangled Up in Blue. You were even doing an American accent. And then I decided that there was something missing. Not the harmonica, but the kazoo. And so I brought the kazoo out and gave a flailing kazoo solo. And you can't see this because it's an audio clip, but I was playing the kazoo from between my legs. So bear that in mind as we hear Bob Dylan's Tangled Up in Kazoo.
We always did feel the same, we just saw it from a different point of view. Tangled up in blue. Tangled up in blue. Let's get some accompaniment on the kazoo. Tangled up in kazoo.
I would rather hear Bob Dylan with kazoo than harmonica sometimes.
Dear me. And
I should say, Mr. Cooney, that we have more clips for next month's show. But we're going one step further. And these are clips that you have never seen before. Yeah. It is clips from our first ever gig in 2005 at the Nursery Inn in Hartlepool, July 2005. And we'll play a few clips, and there's some very interesting stuff there. That's next month.
Yes. Many of you might have noticed this wonderful piece of art sitting on the table here. It's inspired by one of our songs, Lapwings, and it's been created by the wonderful Ellie Skinner. It's a lino print, and she's done a limited edition run. And if you'd like to purchase one, please visit our website. They're absolutely stunning. We've only got 10
left.
We've only got 10 left, actually. Yeah. It's the pair of lapwings. The song Lapwings was inspired by this a diary entry from Thomas Williams in the Great War. He looked up from the Western Front and he saw a pair of lapwings flying homewards, and he knew where they were going. They were following the call of spring, and each one's got a handwritten lyric on from me. So just go on our website and have a look if you're interested in those. And
that's
also
Tangled Up in Kazoo. I should point out that Ellie is my fiancée. Although she was before I did the last Mercenary Minute. I've just had a text.
Yes, and what a wonderful job she's done.
I've been a fiancé.
If you there's a great hashtag at the minute. There's a great movement inspired by helping artists at Christmas, and follow the hashtag Folk for Christmas, and it's all over social media. Just look for it, and there's lots of great recommendations of how to support artists by buying things directly from them, and many artists are recommending other artists, and we'll do that shortly as well. Okay.
I think we're getting to drawing to the end of the show.
Thank you ever so much for watching and listening.
Drawing to the end of the show, indeed.
Yes.
Prince. Oh, right. I'm just getting going. Should we just stay?
So we've got one more video which is going to play out the show, and we'd like to dedicate it to David Good, who sadly passed away recently. David Good, husband of Dawn Good, our friend. He saw us dozens and dozens of times over the years and would have heard this song many, many times. So this is for you, Dawn, and this is Jenny Waits for Me.
Bye, everyone.
We're standing at the old settlement of Middleton, overlooking Hartlepool Bay, and behind us we can see old Hartlepool in all its glory, with its medieval town wall and its gorgeous old Georgian houses and the beautiful church of St Hilda, and the Put House, our pub where we used to run the folk club. We're going to sing you a fisherman's love song. It's called Jenny Waits for Me. Like I've always said, I'm a proud quartet. I was good in fish when I was 4. If you're looking for me, then look out to sea, just like me dad before. One thing makes me sing, though the sea is cruel. Jenny waits for me in old Hartlepool. No home's in sight in the morning light. I must face the swell, but I see the town wall and the old borough hall. I can almost hear Hilda's bell. One thing makes me sing, though the sea is cruel. Jenny waits for me in old Hartlepool. Now I long for the day when I can stay safe with you on the shore, but the sun has fled, so I must head to the great North Sea once more. One thing makes me
and he waits for me